Introduction of new charges for customers using the unstructured supplementary service data known as USSD service. The two regulatory agencies said customers will pay a flat fee of 6 naira 98 kobo per transaction every time they use the USSD service, with effect from Tuesday, March 16. I believe that was yesterday. Now, this is the outcome of the meeting between the CBN, NCC, deposit money banks, and mobile network operators, MNOs, over a protracted dispute concerning appropriate pricing for USSD pricing model for financial services, which resulted in accumulated debt and a possible withdrawal of USSD services by MNOs. If you did not understand that, you're not alone. Neither did I. I just did the business of reading. But why do we get to pay 6 naira 98 kobo for USSD? Well, joining us via phone from the nation's capital, Abuja, is Atiku Samuel. He's a public policy analyst, international budget partnership think tank. Good morning, Mr. Atiku.
Yeah, good morning, and thank you for having me.
It's always a pleasure. Well, of course, you bring some value, so you're always going to be here. Okay, so Nigerians were reacting. Why do we get to pay 6 naira? Who is owing who? What is our business? Please, can you explain why?
Wow, interesting. I think a little bit of history. I think that will lay a good background to begin to think through who should complain or why we should complain or not.
Okay.
I think if you recall in 2019, that's around July 23, the NCC actually did come up with a new pricing structure for telecom services.
Okay.
And for USSD services. It's not just the bank that use that. Remember, if you want to recharge your phone, you use USSD services.
Yeah.
Sometimes you want to do something. Maybe, I'm sure everybody do that. Whether it's actually Big Brother Nigeria or something, you are using USSD services.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there was a cap that was set on that service, meaning that for every 20-second section, you are not to pay above 4 naira 89 kobo.
Okay.
But there's a limit also. There's a floor, which is about 1 naira 63 kobo. And then we did complain that that price, compared to what is obtainable in Ghana, in Benin Republic, in South Africa, that price is outrageous. And then so people started complaining about that price. Then it took sometimes around July, that's July 2. Now, these services that I'm talking about will now be beared. They're not going to be beared by the customers, but rather the corporation.
Okay.
Effectively, it means that the bank will have to pay for that services, not the customer. Because one way or the other, you already charge for making transactions. So it's just a portion of the charges you're actually paying that will be deducted to cover that cost.
Hold on, Mr. Atiku, you will continue. But
yeah.
the banks are paying who for that service?
So they pay the mobile, that's the telecom company.
Okay.
You know, this actually more like you're sending text, or you're calling through using their infrastructure, so you pay for the infrastructure cost. So why people complain during the height of COVID, that was around July 24 last year, barely 1 year after, the NCC revised the price downwards. They now capped it at 1 naira 63 kobo.
Okay.
We were celebrating, thinking, of course, and if you recall that time, the minister then did celebrate that they've reduced the price of telecom services, ABCD, that people were actually talking about. And that gave birth to a lot of other payments, other third-party payment systems. I don't want to mention names now.
Yeah.
Because they could actually ride on this wave and begin to provide services, which is almost similar to what you see when you go to China across the world. With Alipay, something pay. I don't want to begin to mention it. To actually more like reducing the cost will actually boost up new health entrants. People that are actually playing within the fintech sector. As at that time, the banks had accumulated debt of about 17, sometimes in the region of about 17 billion that they were supposed to give back to the telcos. So then the whole hulabaloo started, the whole complaint started, and then we got this big news. And the price had been taken up from 1 naira 63 kobo, which will not be paid by customers, had been increased to about 6 naira 98 kobo. And now the cost will now be beared by customers. Now, just for context, why should we complain? If you look at the numbers closely, the unemployment numbers, the biggest people that use these services, the USSD services, are actually people that cannot, I would say that they are mostly people that are actually earning maybe the minimum wage or sometimes around that. People that are unemployed, people that are struggling, people that are residing in rural areas,
the lower class,
that don't have internet services and all those kind of things.
Yeah.
But if you look at the numbers closely, in 2015, Q2 of 2015, in the rural economy in Nigeria, people reside in the rural areas in Nigeria. About 30 million of them were working full time. As we speak now, it has reduced to million.
Wow.
The unemployment that came out recently.
Yeah.
Why is the government automatically reducing burdens on them? That's not just the only charge they are going to pay. Remember, there's a stamp duty tax also that's part of the finance bill, and then we can go on and on and on like that. That has been changed to electronic transfer bill, and we can go on and on in terms of charges. So, generally, I don't know the thinking behind this. But it defies every logic. You don't place, you don't expect, I mean, if I'm using my internet service and I want to make transaction, of course, yes, I pay for that service.
Yeah.
But one way or the other, then if you are using the same logic to actually nail down people to say that, oh, you have to pay for this service, you have to pay 6 naira 98 kobo for 20 seconds. Just imagine you making 20 seconds call. How much are you charged? Are you charged up to 6 naira 98 kobo? Absolutely not. So becoming a big cash, people see this as a very good avenue for them to make profit. The banks don't want to shift their position. They say, oh, we don't want to incur more profit. I mean, we don't want to incur more cost.
Yeah. We
love our profit. And then, so it's about corporate Nigeria actually deciding without even consulting the people. Corporate Nigeria starts with the NCC and starts with the CBN, and the three of them made an agreement to charge Nigerians more. And then they said, oh, you don't have input in this, and then everybody should shut up and just follow and follow, I mean, align yourself to this program. I think that's just it. I think I will complain about these services because I don't think, given the conditions of the economy, I don't think it's something that they should put on the table.
Yeah, it's definitely going to hit people the wrong way. Now, I said last year you said it was 17 billion. Right now it's 42 billion, and the debt keeps rising. So,
yes.
If the banks could not pay on their own when it was 1 naira 69 kobo, now it's 6 naira 98 kobo, should there have been some kind of sharing formula? Maybe the consumer shares a bit of that amount with the banks, because this is completely on the consumer now.
No, the way we look at it is this. Let's look at it this way. I had a bank account, and then for one reason or the other, when I deposit money in my bank, I'm expected to access that fund.
Okay.
And there are ways I can access that fund. One, ATM. I can go to automated teller machine and actually access my fund, right?
Yeah.
Or I can decide to transfer between A and B. Now, if you have to pay to Nigeria, and just like it's obtainable everywhere in the world, I mean, the CBN comes up with regulation and says that for every 1 square kilometer, your ATM must be there. You must have a bank branch, the way it used to be.
Yeah.
Of course, I can walk up to it to myself, right? So, introducing telecom services reduces the cost of the telcos. You know what? The cost of actually employing one teller person to actually sit and attend to, say, 200 people a day. It's a ridiculously expensive. You are paying for electricity bill, you are paying for building, you are doing this thing.
Yeah.
But to reduce this burden, that's a technological approach. So one way or the other, it reduces the cost that the banks are actually bearing. So the argument is simple and straightforward. It's either you put ATM very close to me so that I can access my money, or you give me the benefit of using telecom, sit in my house and actually do that transaction. What is the cost? Whether it's 6 naira 98 kobo, 7 naira, or 1 naira 63 kobo per transaction, I think it makes sense. But just imagine yourself walking into a bank and trying to do one transaction. Do you think the cost of actually doing that transaction is 6 naira or 7 naira? it's going to be more expensive.
Definitely.
So it's a win for the banks to actually do that and pay for that cost. But the way we are seeing now, historically, the banks have been paying. Now, if they have not been remitting to telcos, that is an agreement. That's a corporate business-to-business arrangement that needs to be handled. I mean, that you can iron that outside the preview of public knowledge. But you just say because the banks are not remitting to the telcos, okay, what we'll now do is that we're now going to put the burden on Nigeria because of two businesses disagreeing. I mean, it's simple. Hey, it doesn't come as and in fact, if they are doing anybody any favor. The moment I deposit money in your bank, you are using my money to make money.
Yeah.
That's one. Then two, also, if I'm using, again, I'm reiterating this and I'm emphasizing this. If I'm using my phone to transfer to my friend or to my family members, I'm helping you. I could easily walk into the bank and tell you, can you transfer? And the time you use about 2-3 minutes. That cost will go, the cost of the infrastructure, the generator you run, and all those things. So at the end of the day, you end up paying close to 500 naira just to transact. I want to do transaction of 1,000 naira.
Truly.
So, give or take, I think it is the best interest of the banks to actually cover this cost, not the customer.
Okay. Now, I don't know how they got to for every 20 seconds, because what I hear is for every transaction. It's going to be difficult to do 2 transactions in 20 seconds. You know, it's going to be very difficult. So why didn't they just say for every transaction? Why did they cap it at every 20 seconds?
That irrespective of it, if you're using a USSD service, I mean, you're running a USSD service, one way or the other, it's a section. So initially, a classical USSD section will not last up to 20 seconds.
Okay.
I press start something. The moment you press it, they prompt you, and then if you are too slow, they will terminate that section. They will terminate that section. That's been the tradition. So initially, the pricing was per section, so 20 seconds, just to keep it as short as possible. But now it is now per transaction. Effectively, what they are saying now is that if I pick up my phone and I want to check my bank balance and I press a code, I pay 6 naira 98 kobo. And I'll go back again and say, okay, I want to transfer to my pay. I'll pay another 6 naira 98 seconds. But initially, probably before 2020, when the new regulation came in, that's in 2019.
Yeah.
If I do a short transaction like checking my bank account statement, which is less than 20 seconds, of course, it's going to be like maybe 10 seconds. My bank will pay the telco 1 naira 63 kobo, depending on how long it took. But at the maximum, so if I spend the whole time mingling over this transaction, the maximum you can pay is 4 naira 89 kobo. But at last year, during COVID, it was reduced to 1 naira 63 kobo, meaning that irrespective of the time I use, as long as I'm within that 20 seconds limit before the cut off my service, I pay 1 naira. It's not that I'm the one paying anything. It's the bank that will pay 1 naira 63 kobo. But what we are having now is that even if you use 1 second, you just press asterisk 11 something, and you click send, and you pay a raise one, then you quickly cut it off. Whether you like it or not, you pay 6 naira 98 kobo. So that's exactly what they're saying now.
Now, all of this looks and sounds good on paper, but we're forgetting downtime. There could be network issues, so you might spend longer on that transaction than you should.
Which is not your that's not
exactly
actually your problem.
It's not your fault.
It's not you that's actually causing that, but rather the telcos, right? Sometimes because of the issues on their own network, their switching system and lack of investment in their infrastructure, it could actually complicate it, and then whether you like it or not, you still end up paying for it.
This is just one big problem. I'm hoping a solution pops up. But Atiku, how will this affect the cashless drive? Because we've been pushing that agenda for some time. Cashless policy and all of that, and then you have policies like this. Will it work for or against it?
So one way or the other, I think I can't say where do I start now. I think one, in terms of Nigeria's cashless policy, I think that has been derailed a long way. I mean, a long time ago, that's been derailed, and then you hardly hear the central bank talk about the cashless policy again.
Yeah.
Increasing costs, one way or the other, also impedes ability to drive through and use cashless. Of course, some people will become very jittery. Imagine you have 1,000 naira in your account and you want to transfer it, or you want to load, for instance, you want to load credit on your phone, maybe 500 naira, and then you know the cost is going to be 6 naira 98 kobo. So you would rather go and withdraw cash and pay somebody and buy credit and then load it yourself to save cost. So the low end of the market, one way or the other, is going to be affected. That is true. That's true. It's going to affect because people would rather consummate and then conclude transactions using cash, especially for low-end transactions. Now, for the high-end transactions, like me now, I don't use USSD services. I mean, that's clear. I would rather use my internet. I use my mobile app. So people that will play within I'm not saying I'm high-end before I commit myself, but people that are a little bit tech-savvy that have constant internet will rather use their mobile app to consummate transactions. But above all, what this puts us is that for people that are looking to start businesses, maybe payment systems or payment platform, the cost implication is now very heavy on you. 6 naira 98 kobo to actually consummate transactions, and that's going to actually put an enormous cost, especially on startups that are playing in the fintech sector. And that means the ability to drive forward will be reduced. And if you go to China, for instance, I know people don't like hearing about China, but if you go to China, people don't really carry cash. People can, with their mobile phones, they can make payments using different systems and protocols. So we're expecting that should be the goal of government in Nigeria, so that we could actually begin to do that. But unfortunately, increasing costs to actually ensure those services go on will most likely show that policy. We hope that this policy will be reversed. I still don't believe that this policy will take long before it's reversed. I think it's just happening because the participatory system is just a close call of people. I just call it the deposit money. The big banks start with some telcos, the big telcos, and those close circle of people with the central bank, the NCC, and then of course the Minister for Communication and Digital Economy actually sat and decided without consulting the people. If they've consulted the people, they would have actually seen sense. Why? I'm even expecting that the cost implication will go down to even less than 50 kobo per transaction, because I don't know what is there. Telecom give us free credit, right? Give us free dipping to Centex, and nobody's even using it. So why should I be paying 6 naira to access my account, my bank statement? It doesn't really make sense.
Surely. Now, I already have the answer to this question, but just for the purpose of this interview going as it should, you know, many times it's hard to believe that the government is broke or anything we see as a big institution. Can the banks actually afford to pay this debt? Is it that are they broke? Can they do it?
If you look at the profit of banks, it's ridiculously high. When the whole world was suffering COVID last year, we're expecting that profitability of Nigerian banks will go down. But if you look at the results that have been coming out, they're making a huge profit, even in the midst of those big crises. I think one just released this report and then said they made almost 120. Somebody made 200 and something billion naira in the quarter. So what are we talking about? And this money is just, if you look at your bank account statement, they collect monthly maintenance fee from you.
Yeah, for my card.
And so it's just for you to remove from that maintenance fee and pay the telcos to keep things going. So Steve, I think it's more about we keeping the money, and because we have control over this money, and because again, there is no, I will call it that there's no legal framework for addressing issues that, in fact, if a good example, I mean, I believe that most of the listeners can actually relate to this. If your employer refused to pay your salary, who do you complain to? So it's almost like that. There's no legal framework for actually enforcing contracts in Nigeria. I think that explains why we are seeing all these kind of things. If there are frameworks for enforcing contracts, of course, we won't see all these kind of telcos, banks owing this one owing this one, and nobody knowing what to do except to withdraw services.
So Atiku, your recommendation basically is the bank should pay up. They should pay and let us be.
Yeah, they should pay up. They should cover the cost. I mean, you use somebody's infrastructure, you should cover the cost. Alternatively, if you don't want to cover the cost, then you build your own telecom services. That means you put ATM in the front of my house. Let me use it. If you can't do that, then I'll find another bank, or people migrate and have finances into maybe a mobile payment. And that explains why Bitcoin and all these things are actually rolling up.
Yes.
Because of failure to invest.
Truly.
And infrastructure. That's why people are using people want something that will solve, that will not put too much burden on them. If you put ATM in front of my house or in my house, I won't bother using all these things. I will go to your ATM and I'll press the button and then get things done.
Convenience. All right, so this announcement was made yesterday and it states effective from yesterday. Do you know if anybody has been charged so far? Have people started getting debited?
People have started getting that cost. The simple way to do it is just if you send 1,000 naira now, you discover that the money that will be deducted from you is 1,600 and something.
Oh, damn.
Of course, it will come in 2 bits with other charges that we. So that's happened already, and people are started complaining on social media about it.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Atiku, for your time. It's always a pleasure. Have yourself a
Thank
wonderful
you for
day,
having me. Thank you for putting me on. Yes.
Okay.
Thanks.
There you have it. It has begun. Conversations with Atiku Samuel, a public policy analyst, international budget partnership think tank, telling us about what the banks should be doing and how we get to be doing it. After the break, you tell me what you make of this. Don't go anywhere.
The night is almost done, but conversations are never done on 92.3 Nigeria Info. Join Jude from 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. on Let's Talk weekdays.
Connect with your customers. Advertise on 92.3 Nigeria Info. Visit our downtown office at Shop 9, Mediatrix of All Gracies Plaza, opposite FIRS, Stadium Road, Port Harcourt, and book your commercials. Call 0817-001-8162. That is 0817-001-8162. And let us connect you to your customers.
We crossfire in the morning. Get into the midday dialogue and tell you about the hard facts, and then let's talk into the chat station. All for you on 92.3 Nigeria Info. We crossfire in the morning. Get into the midday dialogue and tell you about the hard facts, and then let's talk into the chat station. All for you on 92.3 Nigeria Info. We crossfire in the morning. Get into the midday dialogue and tell you about the hard facts, and then let's talk into the chat station. All for you on 92.3 Nigeria Info. We crossfire in the morning. Get into the midday dialogue and tell you about the hard facts, and then let's talk into the chat station. All for you on 92.3 Nigeria Info. We crossfire in the morning. Get into the midday dialogue and tell you about the hard facts, and then let's talk into the chat station. All for you on 92.3 Nigeria Info. We crossfire in the morning. Get into the midday dialogue and tell you about the hard facts, and then let's talk into the chat station. All for you on 92.3 Nigeria Info. We crossfire in the morning. Get into the midday dialogue and tell you about the hard facts, and then let's talk into the chat station. All for you on 92.3 Nigeria Info. We crossfire in the morning. Get into the midday dialogue and tell you about the hard facts, and then let's talk into the chat station. All for you on 92.3 Nigeria Info. We crossfire in the morning. Get into the midday dialogue and tell you about the hard facts, and then let's talk into the chat station. All for you on 92.3 Nigeria Info. We crossfire in the morning. Get into the midday dialogue and tell you about the hard facts, and then let's talk into the chat station. All for you on 92.3 Nigeria Info. We crossfire in the morning. Get into the midday dialogue and tell you about the hard facts, and then let's talk into the chat station. All for you on 92.3 Nigeria Info. We crossfire in the morning. Get into the midday dialogue and tell you about the hard facts, and then let's talk into the chat station. All for you on 92.3 Nigeria Info. We crossfire in the morning. Get the midday dialogue gives the opportunity to explore 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. weekdays on 92.3 Nigeria Info.
COVID-19 pandemic is not a hoax. COVID-19 is not a Nigerian government propaganda. COVID-19 is not a big man killer disease. COVID-19 is here. COVID-19 affects everyone. Protect yourself. Protect your people. Protect our nation. This message is from 92.3 Nigeria Info. COVID-19 pandemic is not a hoax.
Welcome back. It's still the Midday Dialogue on 92.3 Nigeria Info. My name is Sam Oracle Chinedu. From March 16, 2021, Nigeria mobile banking users will now have to pay 6 naira 98 kobo flat fee every time they use the USSD banking service. The Nigeria government made this resolution after a stakeholder meeting between the Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, the Nigeria Communications Commission, and the Central Bank of Nigeria, mobile network operators, and of course financial service providers. According to the resolution, Nigerian telcos will charge all deposit money banks and other CBN licensed financial service providers 6 naira 98 kobo flat fee, which the banks will collect directly from the customer's accounts. So you and I have to pay that debt one way or the other. I spoke with Atiku Samuel earlier. He's a public policy analyst, international budget partnership, and he explained the history of the problem and maybe even the future, the solution to this problem. So what say you? What do you make of all of this? But more importantly, have you been charged? If you've had a USSD transaction between, well, yesterday when it was announced and this morning, have you been charged? I would really like to know. Atiku claims that a couple of people have actually been debited, and they've been complaining all morning on social media. Also, what channel do you use? Personally, I use the app. It feels easier, but I must admit that when I run out of data and I really have to do a transaction, the USSD comes handy. So call me and tell me. 0817-923-0002. Good morning.
Yes, Sam Oracle. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, on the USSD charge by the federal government, the CBN or the new policy, I think when you check the average Nigerian, the average Nigerian lives below $1. Now, you come up with a charge, you have a banking charge, which is about 36 naira, and you came up with another 6 naira 90 something kobo charge again. You put it plus or minus, you're getting over 40 something now, close to 50 naira now for one transaction. Now, if you ask me, are we really moving forward from there? The answer is no. Because all these charges of a thing, before they should come up with this policy of a USSD bringing this app of the thing, I think they should be able to know that, to solve it once, and also to bring a policy that will be easier for the, for the low, the poor masses. You understand? You cannot live in a country where we live below $1 a day, and at the end of it, you're coming up with a policy. So I want to strongly to disagree with the CBN governor totally. I think let them just slash it down. Let's slash it down. If you do it ₦1, we can manage. You understand? We cannot be paying. Is it wrong for one to go to bank to keep his money? It's not wrong. So why are they coming up with all this policy? It's not good. There is no job in Nigeria today. Poverty everywhere. So how will people meet up?
Okay.
This is a very wrong policy. That is my take. Very wrong policy.
Now, what channel do you use for your transactions? Do you use the app? Do you use ATMs or USSD?
I use the SMS app. I have the mobile app on my phone, and also use the SMS app.
All right. Thank you very much. Good morning.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning. Is that good?
No, it's Sam.
Okay, Sam. Sam, don't be angry. I know what I want to say. So people are discussing. I don't know what happens to Nepal. No network. For a week now, we have been sleeping in that mess. When you want to decide, they'll tell you no network.
Okay.
It's not good now. They should at least
All right.
do something about it.
Thank
Before
you very
people
much.
start to bypass, let them not complain.
Okay. Well, PhD, I hope you're listening. Good morning.
Yeah, this is Mr. Zion. Good morning.
Good morning.
Basically, my recharge is through USSD and certain bulk transfer to USSD. I wonder why the President Muhammadu Buhari administration have decided to charge Nigerians virtually every access and every line of transactions. These guys should not forget that even our credit rate has just been increased to about 17 points. For them to look on how to reduce it, balance the economy, they are subjecting Nigerians to pain and anguish. If these guys should continue like this, they may even charge us to start paying for the bread we are breathing. That God, you can't be giving us a free bread. Nigerians need to pay. The sleep, they need to pay for this sleep. I see, these guys don't have the dynamics to run economy. We are trying to welcome this application into our banking and financial sector, which are not even lasted up to 5 years. You are not pressing charges for the services, which in turn is an inimical to the economy of this country. Sir, do you know that even the PHTV meter, digital meter you are using, PPM, you pay per 65 naira for every 1,000 you recharge? Should they bill us virtually on everything in this country? I don't think in other climes like Ghana, they are billing for USSD. USSD is just like a free wheel. It's like a runner line in our economy. We ought not to be billed, but need to be monitored and granted as access for the people to benefit from the economy.
Okay.
Unfortunate.
All right. So here's the thing. First of all, it's not the government that's taking your money. I understand that the CBN, well, it's an agency of government. It's the Central Bank of Nigeria. It's the apex financial institution in the country. But think of it as one business owing another business. So the banks are owing the telcos, because every time you have a USSD transaction, well, it costs something. It's a service, so you kind of have to pay. But this is something the bank is supposed to handle. You know what? Let me use an example. Many of us use logistics services. You order whatever, food or something, and if that service has a delivery service, they get a guy to deliver it to your address. Where are you calling from? Where do you want it? Your number 5, this, da, 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 da. And so, okay, we'll be with you in 25 minutes. So most times, there's a dispatch. They send a guy on a bike. Every other day, if you're driving across through the streets of Port Harcourt, you see these bike guys with that very big thing on the back seats. That means they're running a delivery. So let's imagine that that business already covered the delivery fee. Sam, how much is it? It's 5,000 naira. I pay you 5,000, and that's the complete amount. So they will pay. I can do this, but after the delivery has been made, you pay an extra 500 or 700, and they say for every transaction you have to pay. So it's an internal dispute between the person who owns the business and the buy guy who's making the delivery. The problem in this case is between the telcos and the banks. So somebody has to pay. So my guest said it is something that the banks can easily pay. So it's not exactly federal government per se, so that we don't say, oh, they are charging us for this, they are charging us for that. Yes, there's a regulatory position that the government holds. They should be able to say, you know what, this is wrong and this is right. But this time, leave the government. The meeting yesterday was between the CBN, the NCC, deposit money banks, mobile network operators, and yeah, as my guest said, the public were not a part of that. Hello?
Hello, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning. Okay. I listened to your guest and few callers as well. I think one of our major challenges in this country, especially every sector, is the voice of Nigerians, rather. You know, we're not effectively represented. I mean, when issues like this come up, everybody talks. And when everybody is talking, you know nobody is talking. We don't have ways to actually represent ourselves in these issues. You have monthly maintenance fee, you have charges on that same ATM, on that same money, few money you have there, so much small money you are putting on the same account, so much to be deducted for. And don't forget that every transaction, there's also this, there's also that, there's also that, you know, on how much, because at the end of the day, you know, you see, it's just too much. How can the telecoms, the government, and everybody sit down, and then Nigerians are not ably represented? If your analogy is fine, like the bike rider, yes. But the option here is that if you don't want to use the USSD, you go for the app. But then you know how data is also very expensive.
Yeah.
Everybody will have to fall back to the USSD. So this is the reason why we need to be represented, and we need to see, look, how did they come up with almost 7 naira? How? How did they come up with almost 7 naira? We have other USSD that are not as expensive as that of the bank right now. I mean, the text message is just 4 naira, and it contains more character. So how did they come about this? And then they have large number of clients, you know, to get this money out of them. And because our money is available to them, they just feel once we put this regulation, and then it's running. As of yesterday, people started being debited from their hard-earned money. I mean, we should learn to have a voice in this country. Let's have institutions where Nigerians can be represented, and then we speak our mind.
All right.
That's why everywhere, security, politics, nobody is represented. Everybody talks, nobody is talking. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm glad you said that because, well, that was taking me to my next point. Speaking about representation, well, our reps have spoken. The House of Representatives have urged telecom operators to halt the planned withdrawal of USSD services to financial institutions in the country. This was sequel to the adoption of a motion by Nicholas Osai, PDP Delta, at plenary on Tuesday. That should be yesterday. Moving the motion, Mr. Osai said the CBN introduced the cashless policy in a bid to realize its statutory mandate of promoting monetary stability and a sound financial system in Nigeria. He said one of the innovations introduced with the policy was USSD by GSM. He explained that it was to check account balance or mobile airtime, generate bank statements or do fund transfer and data balance inquiries, or to receive one-time passwords or PIN codes. The USSD service, which is controlled by mobile network operators, is a critical infrastructure used to provide mobile financial services to banks. And so, well, they are hoping that they actually halt this. That's the position of the House of Reps, of course. We have no idea where that would go. But speaking about representation, I don't know. This is as good as it gets. They have spoken. Is it loud enough? I don't know. But they said something. Good morning.
Hello.
Turn off your radio. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Yeah, the banks are just robbing people in this country.
Oh, really?
What is the need of charging almost 7 naira for USSD? The public were not consulted. They just took the decision and began to run it immediately. It's wrong. Must we pay for everything in this country? Look at there was a bank. I have 5,000 for the past 18 years. No cover coming because that is an account. If you withdraw up to 5,000, you cannot remove anything. My money has been there for 18 years. 5,000, no cover goes inside it. Banks are thieves now. They do bank charges. They take SMS. They take this. They take that. They take everything. My 5,000 in the bank for 18 years. No cover goes inside there. Banks are thieves.
Okay. Thank you very much. It is natural for the average Nigerian to be frustrated. Not because that's the best option on the table, but sometimes it's the only one. It is natural for the average Nigerian not to understand quality service. You know how they say if you failed so many times, you don't even know when you've won. That's where most of our systems have left us, in a state of not understanding what standards are. That's why many times you go to countries where things are working and it feels strange because you're not used to things working as they should. So what is supposed to happen? Well, messages on WhatsApp should be read. Good morning, Sam. The problem is the Nigerians are not serious and over-tolerant. How can masses pay for what they did not bargain when they asked us to come save our money with them? Did they use USSD? It was introduced to help relieve them of workload, and they pushed the bills to the customers. This is madness. Emako. The governments have become tormentor in chief to the citizens of Nigeria. Nothing good is coming out of their Nazareth. God Almighty shall destroy the perpetrators of evil. Okay, who's a Atiku Christian? I'm not sure who you mean. The charge for USSD code is too much. It used to be 20 kobo. I guess from my last charge, which I did last week, I think the charges should not be more than 1 naira. I also use the bank app. Victor from Transamadi says, Sam, it is the evil APC federal government that is taking money, period. You think so? Oh well. It's difficult to not make any conversation on PDP versus APC one. But not entirely. I'd rather save my money in my house, which is the bank giving to us for saving our money. The money is too much. Let's calculate. 6 naira 89 kobo by 150 million Nigerians. It will give a whopping... Well, I don't have time to do this math, but it's a lot of money. It's totally unacceptable, Michael Brown says. And finally, this message simply reads, good day. Okay, it's 11 o'clock. Well, for now, people have been debited. The policy is on and running. As Atiku said, we're hoping this does not last long enough because, I don't know, we just may not be able to sustain it. So once again, like I always do, I hope that things get better. 11 o'clock is here. Don't go anywhere.